27 past the hour. We are watching this worldwide threats hearing in the House. The House Intelligence Committee is behind it. Joining us now is former CIA Director John Brennan under President Obama. He's an MSNBC senior national security and intelligence analyst. I thank you for being with us. And what is your assessment of what we're learning today so far?
Well, I think what we're learning is that the Trump administration officials are continuing to deflect the questions as well as responsibility for what has happened here. What is quite apparent from the Atlantic reporting is that this was a Principals Committee meeting that was held on Signal, referred to as PCs. I participated in hundreds of Principal Committee meetings over the course of my career. These Principal Committee meetings are chaired by the National Security Advisor. He and his office are the ones that put together the list of people who are going to attend, make the arrangements, and basically are the ones who authorize the meetings to take place. So it's clear that it falls to Mike Waltz as the National Security Advisor to make the determination about how these should be conducted. I was overseas many times during Principal Committee meetings, and all of those meetings were held securely. It's something called a secure video teleconferencing, which is SVTC, SVTC. You go to either a facility overseas, a U.S. facility, where you have a secure room that you are going to be video conferenced into it, or you speak over a secure phone. So there are the capabilities, the mechanisms to be able to conduct a Principals Committee meeting securely, even if all the principals are not together. But never was there any type of operation or military operation like this where there was going to be discussion in a commercial app the way had happened earlier this month.
So that's because what is it about? And I'm just wondering if the technology has not simply changed over the years and how this principals meeting, which is what it was. I mean, everybody except for the Atlantic's, editor-in-chief was, principal, has intelligence, information that they handle, classified intelligence information that they handle regularly. But why do you think, John, this would even be a concept that would be seen as okay?
I think it's basically just for their convenience that they don't have to go to a facility, a secure facility. They don't have to go and use their secure phone. And I think it was just laziness and sloppiness. And what I see in the chat discussion going on, there was nothing that was urgent or that absolutely had to be discussed at that time. And so, again, there was no real reason to conduct something like this over Signal. There could have been much more cryptic references like, the operation is underway and not even referring to where it was going to happen or who the target was. But the detail on this, it's clear that the National Security Advisor, I think, condoned this. And unfortunately, I think Mike Waltz's credibility and integrity is quickly being destroyed by him as he's pointing these fingers at Jeff Goldberg, the journalist, who I think was very responsible in how he handled it. But it's clear that I think the fault falls with the person who chaired the meeting or authorized it, which is Mike Waltz, as well as with Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, who put in this information. And I also wonder, how did Hegseth receive this information? Did he receive it from someone else via Signal? How many other Signal messages are out there on this operation as well as on other Principal Committee meetings? And that's why I think having this investigation and having the Inspector General of the Pentagon is absolutely appropriate and needs to be done soonest.
John Brennan, it's always a pleasure to see you. I thank you very much for being with us on this story, which continues to develop. So is the meeting there that you're seeing underway, which is clearly wrapping up on Capitol Hill. John, just another question, if I could, with you. I was just wondering, the irony or not of, President Trump, one of the first things he does is he pulls your security clearance, saying that you were of no confidence to him. And yet here we're seeing what is clearly, unexplained conversations going on in an app. How do you kind of bridge those two things?
Well, I think Donald Trump and those around him will never admit that they made a mistake. and they clearly are circling the wagons right now, and they're going to counterattack. But I think as the heat grows, I don't think Donald Trump is going to have any qualms about, throwing some people overboard. And it might be Mike Waltz, it might be Pete Hegseth and others, because I think this really does reveal a real carelessness on national security matters of military operations, the very loose discussion. And again, I think as the Inspector General pulls the thread on this, we're going to find out some more disturbing details, or at least the Inspector General will. And I'm hoping that the Congress continues to put the pressure on the administration to release those details about just how egregious this was and how widespread it has happened.
And I want to go over some of this because, and I'm sure you've been listening to some of it, some of the Republican members that have been having conversations with the different representatives of the intelligence community on this hearing have been one and many times saying, was there any military preparations underway? Were, stated? Were there names given? But I want to go over, John, if I could, and I'm, thinking, putting back your experience with the CIA, just on Hegseth, the question. Time now, 11:44 Eastern. Weather favorable. Confirmed with CENTCOM, we are a go for mission launch. F-18s launch. Trigger-based F-18 first strike window starts. Also strike drones launch. Those are the MQ-9s. More F-18s launched. This is between 11:44 Eastern and 2:15 p.m. So we're talking about a couple of hours with strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop, pending earlier trigger-based targets. How sensitive is this information at, John, the time that it was being discussed?
Well, I think has been said by many folks, is that this type of pre-operational activity and information would be invaluable to an adversary. And the Houthis are not just a ragtag terrorist organization. They are basically military. They have control of much of Yemen, and they have the air defense systems that could be used to attack drones or manned aircraft. So the fact that they're pushing this out and in an unauthorized app chat, it just, again, would reveal the operational plans and in advance of the actual activity. So I think as some of the generals in the dais were saying, that type of information really is just so critically important to an adversary to know in advance, because they can then take the protective steps to prevent a successful mission.
And so, John, just finally, and I guess, I don't know how much one could discuss about this, but so Signal app, is it something that the United States government routinely can tap into, or other governments? Are the signals of the world being tapped into by either the United States or any other government or entity?
It's a secure means of communication while the transmission is taking place. It's encrypted. But once it gets to the recipient's phone, it is no longer encrypted. And so if an adversary has already compromised a phone, putting malware or something else, they're going to have access to that information. Or if that phone is left unattended, and it seems as though a lot of these were private phones, personal phones. So yes, it's a more secure means of communication than just a regular text message. However, once the information is received by the phone of the recipient, it is no longer encrypted, and it is then vulnerable to exploitation, either because of some type of previous compromise of the phone through malware, or because somebody has been able to access it who really should not be accessing it, which is why it is not authorized or approved for any type of classified or sensitive information.
John Brennan, I thank you very much. It's good to see you. Appreciate it.